All right, so what does it all mean for local investors? To get his take on the week that was, Peter McGuire is here in studio. He is from XM. Good Saturday morning to you, Pete.
Good morning, Nadine. Good morning, David.
What a week. It got some hearts pumping, didn't it?
Yeah, it's been a wild week. Volatility, I've been up since around about 3 looking at this. It's been just an incredible, look at that 8-hour trading range. 900 points on the Dow, up and down, big swings, crude, gold, you name it, everything's being hit. US dollar index, it's back up around about 1.25% in the last 24 hours. So it's been very strong.
Because you look at the outcome, 400 points up.
Yep.
People go, last week was a blip.
Absolutely.
But the fact of the volatility is back is the scary bit, isn't it?
That's exactly right.
That you've got to look beyond that closing figure. And do you think that nervousness will go into next week as well?
I think so, David. And look at the VIX. Have a look at that. If we can get a chart up, it's just incredible what we've seen over that period. S&P 500, big swings. Have a look at those numbers coming out as far as UK GDP, down 20.4% for April. Now, that really is a hemorrhage. Then we're looking at what May, and I think that'll be actually slower than what April was because it's really that lockdown numbers. So that creates uncertainty, and many people are saying, do we see as we're currently at that peak? Yeah. I feel as though it's a bit exhausted to the upside. I don't know, maybe I'm not trying to be a pessimist, but I feel as though there's a big chasm between Wall Street and Main Street. There's a lot of people unemployed and underemployed and can't get employment. Yeah,
we were talking earlier with one of our guests, and he was saying there's a change in psychology in the US markets at the moment, from ignoring reality to now focusing on it.
Absolutely.
And particularly with Jerome Powell speaking again this week coming up, that it could be crunch time.
Absolutely. When you look at it, there's been $10 trillion worth of stimulus, and is that enough? That's globally. So I think it's probably going to be another couple of trillion is going to be added to firepower to get some sort of reactionary re-engagement. I saw Morrison on TV yesterday. He's certainly worried about 800,000 people being re-employed. Jerome Powell's got the same mantra. Mnuchin came out and said, I don't care what happens, we're not locking down for a second phase. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that really is a reality check, and you're seeing some of these states hemorrhage with COVID.
Jim Cramer overnight saying investors can never have too much cash at a time like this.
Exactly right. Well, that's right, and I think, and that's very interesting because inflation rates are low. We all understand that. I saw Jeremy Siegel say in the last 24 hours, the Wharton Prof, 2021, the second half, you'll see inflation take off because you can't have that much firepower and not get some form of reaction. So I think that's going to be a little bit of stimulus and what we look forward to. I think Australia plays well into that, but it's going to be interesting in the second half of the year or fourth quarter. How we go, our job seeker, all of those moving frames, where are the shifting sands?
Peter, I know oil is one of your specialties. So we have the US rig count falling to the lowest level that it's been, I think, since June 2009.
Yep.
Demand, though, obviously big question marks there. And now production and the willingness of the Saudis to continue to cut production.
Sure.
Where does this end up?
Well, the 10 million barrels a day as far as that OPEC plus cut, and that'll be run out till the end of the month, and then from July moving forward it'll be about 8 million. But the issue quite simply is, do we see the airlines fly again? Do we see the trucks driving? Do we see consumption? All of those phases need to be worked through the market. And there's so much uncertainty. OPEC Plus is certainly fractured at the moment. They're trying to hold it together. You've got where Russia plays. Balance sheets are being, absolutely savage. Look at the Saudi balance sheet. And that's where Trump's saying, well, we need to get re-engagement. You've got all these guys that are flexible workforces. They've got little rigs. Dave and I have set up a rig, and we've got 5 staff. 5 guys, we're working 24 hours a day at $45 a barrel. We need that dollar. Yep. If we can't do it, we will go back and I'm packing shelves at Walmart. Yep. That's the flexibility of the whole phase, and that's where we've seen that big collapse. Running back to those numbers Nadine's saying, 2009.
So we've got, volatility in commodities, we've got volatility in equities, we've got volatility in currency. So basically investors have to buckle up as we move into the next phase of this
Where
recovery.
Are you sitting?
You know what, David? Well, as an investor, I think you've got to be... cash is a very big component, but you don't get any return for it. You know where traders are? They're in short term. We've got a very educated market. We've got the access to get education 24 hours a day from young people and the older are saying, I see opportunity. there's just been a big uptick as far as all of these platforms globally as from retail demand. I'm not worrying about too much hedge funds. I'm talking about the retail sector are really over this.
You've got people with stimulus checks in their pocket.
Yep.
Very
and they're
tech-savvy.
seeing small sectors, and they're saying, I'll trade in that market over the next 5 hours. I don't need to hold it for 5 months. I'm in it for 5 hours. I'm seeing a 400-point move, so I take advantage of that. Gold, have a look at oil. You said it was up 123%. People are taking that advantage, and they're trading it in short terms, maybe over a matter of hours or days.
Yep. So instead of playing Fortnite, they're playing the market. So it's almost
David,
some of these
sports betting.
So some of these platforms are really gamifying share investing, aren't they?
Absolutely. And the other side of it, of course, is that people have got more time on their hands to get educated.
Yep.
Now, education is you've got Coursera, you've got EDX, you've got platforms that are offering, with great educators, the chance to learn.
Yep.
And people have got time to learn, read a book.
Yep.
My son just bought 10 books, he's 25, graduated, 10 books on investing. He wants to learn. He said, Dad, I'm reading pages at a time. So that's the sort of mind frame that the young are going through, education.
That's fabulous. Pete, I've got a great book he can read.
Thank you, Dave.
I'll give you one on the way out. All right. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday morning. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.